Now, Anthony is in the interrogation room, and baby, when I tell you, don't say nothing without a lawyer. Which, baby, folk ain't busting down the door to give you cupcakes. What the y'all think man was trying to bust down the door for? But I can't reiterate enough, nigga, y'all couldn't serve the boy a piece of paper. But I'm supposed to think y'all can protect me? Hell no. Y'all can't even give him paper. Susan couldn't get the cops to give Bert the papers he needed to be served. She had to go get her brother now. What's up? It's Nikki. Welcome back to my channel, King Nikki TV, where I give you commentary on popular movies and TV shows. In this video, I will be recapping the Netflix documentary, I Just Killed My Dad, about the 2019 crime committed by Anthony Template, where he kills his dad, Bert. Y'all, trigger warning, this documentary pretty much details abuse, physical, verbal, sexual. Now, it starts off, y'all, is it just me or are 911 operators really odd? Like, when I watch true crime and they play the 911 tape, I'm always feeling like, why does a 911 operator be talking like that? Child, the 911 operator is like, so you just killed your dad? I mean, it's like she could have been saying, so you want fries with that? Like, I was just like, baby, I don't know. Maybe they get calls like that every day, child. I don't know. But anyway, now at the top of this documentary, I never heard of this crime. I never heard of this case. I didn't know anything about it. So I wasn't sure what to think as far as guilt, innocence, or, you know, the events that happened. But as the story lays out, I ended up on Anthony's side pretty much. Now, Anthony started off, to me, he felt odd. He seemed odd. And I'm going to just say odd because you couldn't, I couldn't really place what that oddity was at first, right? So Anthony is outside waiting for the cops after he calls 911, and baby is barefoot. He's in the interrogation room barefoot. And I don't know why that was really distracting for me. Like, baby, you couldn't put no shoes on. I don't know. Now, in the interrogation, this was the moment when I was like, okay, I get why Anthony is odd. Y'all, the cops was really pissing me off. A lot of folk in this documentary was pissing me off. It was very, very, very frustrating. I cannot imagine the average person going through the system. The people who work in the system trying to help folk, I just can't imagine that frustration because I was frustrated watching this. Now, when Anthony is talking to the detective for me, I did not like his attitude. I did not like the way he was perceiving things. I personally feel like when you're a detective, to me, you need to have some type of training, some type of psychology training maybe, or maybe not. Maybe just have someone who is trained sitting in on an interview, because the way the detective be reading stuff to me be so off. And you know the one thing that annoys me about how detectives read these interrogations? Like when I watch true crime, if the person in there crying and all kind of stuff, then it's, oh, they putting on a show. They being too over the top. They must be guilty. They're trying to convince us that they feel bad. But then if the person is like nonchalant or monotone as Anthony was, then it's, oh, they're not remorseful. They're not showing any fit. Well, baby, which one am I supposed to do? And the reason I say they need training, I feel like training with abusers, abuse victims, because if you're raised by a crazy man like Anthony was, it's like, baby, how would he be of sound mind and body and just sound emotionally? So, and another thing is, I hate the way that the justice system is kind of one size fits all. Like, manslaughter has to be this. But I feel like, in my opinion, things are very situational. And people are different. People respond to things. People respond to abuse differently. People respond to situations differently. People process things differently. I know folk that are very monotone all the time. You can never read them. I mean, my mom is one of them. I be joking and calling her a robot. Like, she could win the lottery and she would just be like, oh, great, I won the lottery. Like, she would be happy, but you won't really be able to read it. And my little sister's the same way. They're both two peas in a pod. And I know other folk that are very monotone. That's just how they are. And me, I'm very over the top. If I was in the interrogation room, I'd been crying. Not like, and they probably would have thought I was guilty and just putting on a show. But I tend to just be very overexpressive. Like, everyone responds to things differently. I don't think it's a set, oh, if this person does this. That's why I'm kind of confused with body language experts. Like, it don't necessarily mean what you're saying it means. Now, Anthony is in the interrogation room, and baby, when I tell you, don't say nothing without a lawyer. Baby, I'm not telling you my name. You better just look at my motherfucking driver's license or something. I ain't saying without a lawyer, baby. Anthony was in that interrogation room, to me, hanging himself. And I was like, baby, just don't talk. But I get what Anthony was saying. He pretty much told the interviewers, and the interviewers was getting on my nerve too, child. Let me interview folks on one of these documentaries. Because the way the documentarians be carrying on be irking me. But when Anthony said, he literally thought he would call 911. The cops and paramedics would come. They would save his dad. He would explain the story, and he would never have to go back to the house. I believe that. He thought the cops were going to handcuff him, figure out the story, and then let him go. And I really believe that. Now, what was frustrating in interrogation, Anthony was pretty much saying his dad was married to his stepmom, Susan. She divorced him. She's the ex-wife. Dad, Bert, got the phone, accuses Anthony of communicating with the stepmom, which I guess the dad ain't want him to do. They get into an argument. He goes at Anthony. Anthony runs into his dad's bedroom, closes and locks the door. The dad is trying to bust the door down, which they have pictures of the door, which, baby, folk ain't busting down the door to give you cupcakes. What the y'all think the man was trying to bust down the door for? But anyway, Anthony gets 2 guns. And he wanted 2 guns just in case one jammed, he had the other. So the cop is like, was it a window in the room? Baby, every room got a window. Like, don't ask me questions in that way. Like, I don't know. I just didn't like it. Well, you didn't have no other option. You couldn't call the police. You couldn't get out the window. No, he couldn't. And the detective asked Anthony, so you felt like you had no other option? Anthony's like, no, I feel like I had no other option. And I really believe that. And that's why I feel like you have to be thinking in the mind of a victim. Especially if I'm a minor. If I'm a minor and my parent is the one victimizing me, baby, what resource do I have? If you assault me and assault me and assault me and assault me, and then I see you and I do something to defend myself before you do something, I can't stand that whole, well, you weren't in immediate danger. No, baby, in my mind, I was in fight or flight mode. Because this person has assaulted me and assaulted me, I'm not going to let it continue. I've reached a breaking point where I'm trying to protect myself before they pop off on me. And something that they were saying about the dad, which is very true of abusers, they're up and down. You never know what's going to make them fly off the handle or what they're going to do. And they detailed how the dad was just slowly just cracking more and more and more as events of his secret life and his control was unraveling. So Anthony probably thought like, yo, this is it. This nigga finna kill me. Anthony's mom spoke about her time living with Burke, how erratic he was, and that's abusers in general, and that's something I don't think the cops, assistant district attorney, the people judging the case, I don't think they factored in when it came to Anthony's actions. Like, I've seen people in real life that are abusive, literally, and it's literally like unbelievable unless you see it. I feel like literally go from laughing to beating somebody down. Like, you never know what is going to set an abuser off. And you never know if this time is the time they're going to kill you. And the biggest thing that an abuser needs is control. And they tell the story of how Burke successfully had this public image and successfully had this secret life. Everything was unraveling. He lost his job. Susan left him. She put out on something called neighborhood.com, don't quote me, but a website basically where the entire neighborhood was able to read the details of his abuse to her. He was unraveling. And it's no telling if Anthony hadn't did what he did and made that stand, the 911 call could have been something whole other different. It could have been Bert done killed Anthony and then probably killed himself, because that's usually how they do. Another person that kind of annoyed me and I felt like could have helped was when Anthony's mom, Teresa, that's her name, y'all. Her name is Teresa. I just looked at my notes. When Anthony's mom, Teresa, is still living with Bert, before she leaves him, his friend comes to the door and is like, Bert hired me to kill you. You need to get out of here. Now, baby, you should have went to the cops and told the cops that someone was trying to hire you to murder someone, and maybe the cops could have did a sting where you introduced Bert to an, you know, assassin that's really an undercover cop, and we could have put Bert away. But that didn't go down. Like, who was this friend? Like, baby, I appreciate you not killing me, but can we do something to, you know, I don't know, get help? Because if he is able to go to those lengths, what else is he capable of doing? And if you don't do the job, maybe he'll go to somebody else to do the job. I don't understand why he didn't go to, I mean, I understand, but I don't understand why he didn't go to the cops, whoever this friend is. At one point in the documentary, Peyton says that very rarely was it anything other than hell living in that house. And they was trying to put Anthony in jail for the rest of his life. So a lot of things made them feel like Anthony was just guilty. The news painted it as this privileged white kid just kills his dad, because they're like, you got 2 guns. So you felt like, oh, I'm going to kill him. You know, whatever happens, I'm picking up 2 guns. And Anthony opens the door that he locked himself behind the door. So I guess the cop was like, well, baby, you ain't have to open the door. You could have ran out. You could have waited for him to calm down, blah, blah, blah. Anthony goes after his dad. The dad runs away, runs to the bathroom. Anthony's still shooting. But to me, baby, I'm calling this self-defense. Like, I get it in the mind of someone who is abused. Now, another person in the story, Susan, she's the stepmom. And I've seen a lot of people kind of blaming her. I don't put no blame on Susan. I honestly don't. The only thing that was odd for me was when Susan apparently told her brother she was scared of Anthony. You couldn't read him. He was emotionless. You didn't know if he was angry. That made me upset. And I thought, well, I guess I won't say it made me upset, but I thought that was odd. Like, baby, Burke is the one abusing you. Burke is the one abusing Anthony. So, is Anthony supposed to just be healthy? I don't understand, like, when she was saying stuff like that. Like, if I'm raised by a crazy person, I'm gonna be, why would I be of sound mind and body? Anthony was raised in isolation. And that was another thing that annoyed me with the cops. There was no school record for Anthony. The baby never went to school, y'all. He was like 16 with an education of a 3rd grader. Thanks to Susan, though, because Susan was the one trying to teach him his address, trying to teach him how to write. The cop asked him his birthday. Y'all, Anthony ain't know his own birthday. Anthony ain't know his address. Something, like, it was, to me as a cop, this should be red flags. When Anthony ain't got no type of medical history, he never got preventative care. Red flag, detective. What household that is operating in a healthy, sound way for a minor child is just never taking their child to the doctor, never taking their child to the dentist? And then when they were like, there's no documented abuse. What the kind of documentation y'all want? The dad is the abuser. So y'all think he gonna beat Anthony ass and take him to the hospital? Like, if I'm a minor, what exactly type of documentation do y'all expect me to be able to give y'all? The assistant district attorney was another person getting on my nerve. And I know I done flipped because I was talking about Susan, but now I'm going off of something else. We're gonna get back to Susan. But the assistant district attorney, she ended up doing right in the end, in my opinion. But some of the stuff she was saying was really irking me about the whole documenting abuse. There was Susan divorced Burke, right? Susan trying to serve him papers. The cops coming to the door. Y'all, I can't remember how long they said, but I want to say it was months. The cops couldn't even serve this nigga paper. The cops couldn't even give Burke paper. The cops asked Anthony before the crime, is your dad abusing you? Anthony says no. First of all, baby, you asking me in front of my abuser. Second of all, y'all couldn't even serve this nigga paper. So why would I think y'all can protect me? The assistant district attorney is like, well, that was his chance to say something. Baby, do you not know how abuse works? Do you not know how isolation works? Why would I tell the folk who can't even give this nigga sheets of paper that he kicking my ass and abusing me so y'all can leave me here and he can do it again for me running off at the mouth? I don't know, like stuff like that was being said was really, really annoying me. It's just like they have this view of where if you're a victim of domestic violence, you're supposed to move like this and this is what's supposed to happen and you should have told him. Who the fuck was he supposed to tell? Why the fuck would I tell? Babe, I can't reiterate enough, nigga, y'all couldn't serve the boy a piece of paper. But I'm supposed to think y'all can protect me? Hell no. Y'all can't even give him paper. Susan couldn't get the cops to give Bert the papers he needed to be served. She had to go get her brother now. But I'm supposed to tell y'all that the nigga abusing me? I don't get it. Okay, anyway. Susan leaves Burke, right? And wait a minute now, because Susan, and this is another reason that I say, I guess I know people have been abused in real life. I know abusers in real life. And I guess I just look at it from a different lens. Susan ain't just up and leave Burke, right? Susan and Peyton, her son from a previous relationship, lived in the house with Burke and Anthony. Peyton could not take the abuse any longer. Peyton was saying, how, y'all, this Burke had security cameras all over the house, right? But I was a little thrown because Susan said he had cameras everywhere but the master bedroom. So that made me think it was cameras inside the house, not just outside. But anyway, Peyton couldn't take it no more. He calls his dad to come get him. Y'all, Susan ain't even get her child out the situation. So how you blaming her for not getting Anthony out the situation? And it's no telling what it took for her to muster up to get her own self out the situation, let alone pull other folk out. Like, I get it. In a perfect, first of all, in a perfect world, nobody would be abusing folk. But in a perfect world, every person who is a victim of abuse would have the gusto to stand up and take the other victims with them. But that's just not reality. And I feel like it's a heavy burden to put on somebody who themselves are being beaten down, who themselves need to be rescued from the situation. I don't think people really understand the control and the psychological like chains that binds you to the person that's victimizing you, and how hard and scary and dangerous it is for you to leave the situation, let alone try to take somebody with you that ain't even your child, that she had no legal rights over. So Susan got I think it was a restraining order, and it was like 50 pages of her detailing everything that Burke did to her, abusing her. And one thing that they tried to use against Anthony was, well, nowhere in here did she say the child was being abused. Now, I want to say common sense would tell me if the nigga's this big of a monster to old girl, what the f y'all think he doing to the son? But that's not necessarily always the case. Because I know someone personally whose stepdad was beating up on their mama and never laid a hand on them. That can happen. It can be a situation where an abuser does not lash out at a certain person. They only lash out at a certain target. Yes, that can happen. However, her account of her abuse, coupled with the fact that Anthony never went to school, never saw a doctor, never saw a dentist. Like, baby, what do y'all think was happening to the boy in that house? The kid wasn't being homeschooled. He just was never schooled. And Anthony said it's easier to control a dumb person than a smart person. His dad wanted him to be ignorant. He didn't want him to have outlets. And they said in the documentary, if you go to school, people, teachers, nurses can, you know, see, hey, something might not be right. Or you can get close to a friend and detail to them what's happening. He kept that boy in isolation. It was so sad. Like, y'all, this was so sad. Now, another person who they put a lot of blame on was Anthony's mom. What was her name? I'm going to just call her Anthony's mom, child. I can't remember her name, and I don't have it written down. Now, Anthony's dad calls up a friend who got a greenhouse to get Anthony a job, right? But the friend is like, well, I can't just give a strange kid a job. I need to meet him. They go out to meet, and every time old boy try to ask Anthony a question, Bert chimes in. Don't let the kid talk. This was also infuriating was the people around him. You had somebody, we had Bert's best friend since they were like 15 years old. And I thought this was odd. He was saying how he never really was around Anthony, never really knew him, hardly ever spoke to him. They was at a pool one time, a few times ever talked to the kid. The kid was always just to himself and quiet. My friends who got kids, baby, I talk to their kids. I don't know, to me that's odd to know somebody since you're 15 years old and you don't really interact to know their child. I don't know. And it's a difference between a child being quiet or shy and being shut down. And to me, it should have been evident that Anthony was completely shut down. But whatever, I can't judge it. Then someone else in the documentary, I want to say it was Susan's brother, but y'all don't quote me. But the man was saying, oh, Burke bought anything Anthony wanted. He treated him like a king. Are you crazy? And that was something Susan said. He was a great provider. We had cars. And are y'all crazy? I don't know. But I get it. We're telling a full story. Now, Anthony gets a job at the greenhouse, right? And child, when I tell you, for it not, like is that upset? For it not. Had it not been, I like for it not. I don't know. I like how that sounds. For it not, his co-worker, baby, Anthony might have rotted in jail for the rest of his life. So Anthony's boss even details how, and that's something that I say, I'm like, the people in the justice system, the district attorney, they need to be educated on how things affect brain, especially a child's brain, a developing brain. He detailed how kids who are homeschooled don't have the social skills that most people do, obviously. And how Anthony was even worse. Like, he wasn't even on that level. It was something worse than that, right? Now, Anthony at the job, he don't know simple things. He don't know up high. You know how you like up high, down low, give me 5? Anthony know what that meant. He know nothing about that. He know nothing about nothing. It's like he was a foreigner. He didn't know simple things, right? And then one day, Anthony just so happened to be standing in one spot. And the dad calls up to the job. Anthony ain't moving 30 minutes from that one spot. Well, what's going on? Baby, do y'all think this normal? Like, this is insane. I would be like, Poe, baby, like, nigga, you can't stand somewhere. Baby, I can't just stand. And the coworker is like, it just so happened he was fertilizing plants in a certain area. That's why he ain't moved. But when she heard about the situation, she knew it was more to the story. And she worked hard to get some type of help and resource for Anthony. She got in touch with a genealogist, I think the lady was called, who was able to track down Anthony's mom. And that was something else. When the coworker would ask Anthony certain questions, Anthony ain't know any relatives. I want to say he didn't even know his mama's name. And the cops ended up, when Burke went to the hospital, when he dies, they upgraded Anthony's charges from manslaughter to murder. Murder is automatic life in prison. And I'm just sitting here like, do y'all not, like, what is justice, y'all? Like, that perplexed, what is justice? Because I feel like people are so gung-ho about punishment. Like, people are so like, punishment. You gotta be punished, punished, punished. Are we even caring about the facts of a situation? Are we caring about rehabilitation in any way? When Anthony was upgraded to murder at 17 years old, never committed a crime in his life, has no type of violent history, is put into a facility with hardened criminals. Like, I don't understand what we are supposed to gain as a society when we're just throwing, I don't know, whatever. I'm going off on something else. Now, they end up tracking down Anthony's mom. Come to find out, Anthony was kidnapped. And this was even more infuriating-ish. Now, Anthony's mom, also a victim of abuse. Y'all, this was such just cycles and cycles and cycles of abuse. Anthony's grandmother was a victim of abuse. Anthony's mom was a victim of abuse. She was sexually abused as a child. Then she got with Burke. She had already had 2 kids. She got with Burke. He was physically abusive to her, verbally abusive, mentally abusive. And now some things kind of threw me off because when the mother story is first introduced, they tell us that Burke kidnapped Anthony, right? Now, when Anthony's mom finally musters up the courage, the strength, the wherewithal, whatever you want to call it, to finally leave Burke, we hear from a woman who has worked in domestic violence, and I loved a lot of the stuff that she said. One thing that kind of irks me is when people are like, why didn't you just leave? Why don't you just leave? And I loved how she said, literally the most dangerous time for a victim of violence, domestic abuse, is when you leave. That is the most dangerous time for you. It ain't easy to just hop up and leave. Many people get badly hurt or die when they go to finally leave someone who's abusing them. Now, a lot of flack I've seen people giving and blame to the mom is she takes the opportunity to leave. Burke grabs up Anthony, who I want to say is probably a toddler at the time, and kind of threatens, like, you're not taking him. And she leaves without her son. Baby, I don't blame her. I don't. Like I said, in a perfect world, you would muster up some kind of strength or whatever to not leave without your child. But in the real world, baby just had to get out. She just had to get out. She left. She got on the bus. She went home to a different, I want to say, they were in Texas, but I want to say she was from a different city. Now, she didn't just leave her child. She got with the domestic violence group. She got a restraining order because he had already been to jail. Now, she had documented history of him abusing her. And the court in Texas granted her full custody of her son. Now, she finally gets her son. The son is left with grandma. Mom go out of town. Somehow, these dumb-ass states don't, I don't know why there ain't no database. I don't know why the states don't, it's like the states is a different country. Why the states don't talk to each other? And I know real-life situations like this. States don't talk. So, Anthony's dad, Burke, goes to Louisiana. And he's able to go to the court and make up a bunch of lies about the mom and get them to grant him, I want to say it was temporary, full custody of Anthony. Even though he had, and this was something else. Somebody else in the story, the genealogist, looked up Burke and found out that he had arrest for assault. Baby, the cops ain't pulled this shit up. I'm confused. Why did y'all upgrade this little kid? Not little kid, but why y'all upgraded this kid to murder? Y'all didn't see he had charges of assault, and one of the assault victims was a family member. That's how they were connected in the dots. I skipped over that. Now, somehow the state of Louisiana don't know he got a record in the state of Texas. I don't know how that works. I don't understand what that. So grandma at home, baby, a cop comes to the door like, I gotta take the child because Burke got custody. When I tell you, and she talking about you can't question the cop, baby. When I tell you, I've been in that mode like, baby, I'm renting an Airbnb. I don't know them people. This is little Johnny. This ain't Anthony, baby. I don't know who you talking about. You gonna have to come back. I literally, like, no, baby, question, you could, no, I can't stand that. Like, no, this ain't no all hell authority no, but I've been that mother, baby, I don't know them people. No, I blow English, like, I've been in that making up song. I don't know them folk. Whoever folk you talk, Burke, who? No, baby, I don't know them people. I literally would have been like, y'all gonna have to come back now, you hear? I don't know them folk. But Grandma lets the cop come in, take Anthony away, back to Burke. Obviously, Anthony's mom was upset. Like, I have paperwork. I have full custody of him. She goes to where Burke lived. It was cleared out. She had no idea where they went. And let's be realistic. First of all, I already went over everything it took for her, already a victim of abuse before Burke, then victimized by Burke, how much it took for her to get herself out. Now, the domestic violence lady reiterates how easy it is for Burke to have the gusto to fight. He's not the one being victimized. It is such a toll. Baby, Anthony mom ain't have the money, the strength to keep trying to fight. She fought for her child and she won and got her child. And then the system allowed the abuser to get the child. And like, I put no blame on her. Like, baby got her own trauma. And she tried as best she could to fight for her child. And she did. And it was the system. I don't blame Susan in any way. I don't think anybody should. They're victims of trauma. And there is no perfect way to maneuver when you yourself are a victim of trauma and abuse. Now, we get introduced to Jared, Anthony's lawyer. And you can say what you will about how he was coming across, but I feel like his intent and intentions were genuine. I think he was one of the few people that really cared about Anthony. Anthony did have a handful of people, like I said, the co-worker, and Susan and Peyton, and his mom and grandma. But I really think Jared, he talked about his own childhood trauma, and I really genuinely think that he did the case pro bono. If it were not for the co-worker, if it were not for Jared, Anthony would spend the rest of his life in jail. And that is such a travesty. That is so sad. Now, Jared works hard for Anthony. They end up changing over to manslaughter, right? And he ends up getting probation. Now, throughout all of Anthony's interviews, we never really see any emotion from him, right? Which, baby, I don't blame him. Like I said, some people are just unemotional, but specifically him being a victim of abuse and trauma and having the psychotic dad he had, I get it. But it was so sad. The first emotion we saw from him was when his lawyer tells him he was able to get manslaughter and probation. And we don't even see a full big smile, but we see the first smile and emotion from Anthony. And I felt so invested in Anthony, and I felt so invested in this story. When Anthony is out, well, when he was in jail and they finally found his mom, she called him. And I completely get his reaction. He don't know her from a hole in the wall. All the good memories she had when he was a kid, he don't remember that. So someone saying, I'm your mom, or I love you, I get, okay. I looked for you every day, okay. Like, I get that. I mean, it's like when I talk to family who knew me as a baby or a toddler, I be like, nigga, I don't know you. But they be all, I remember, that's awkward. In general, I get it. Now, Anthony goes home, Texas, his original home, and visits his mom and grandma. Yo! Oh, this broke my heart. I was crying watching the documentary. I was crying. Tears. Oh, pulled at my heartstrings. I just have a special place for just victims of domestic violence and abuse, because I do. It's just a travesty. So The guilt, y'all, on grandma. The guilt, it hurt my heart. It hurt my heart. And you know what? I get it 100%. I get the intimidation factor that people feel when they come face to face with cops. Baby, I'm black. I get it. Like, trust me, I get it. And even though I would have maneuvered differently, people could say they would have did something differently. I don't blame grandma. I truly don't. I get it. I get it. Oh, but she got so much guilt, y'all, and it hurt my heart. And I'm sure all the, 11 years that Anthony was missing, I'm pretty sure grandma blamed herself every single solitary day. I'm pretty sure she did. And this is what makes me mad about situations like this. Technically, Bert won. The abuser won. He died with control over Anthony's mom. His pawn to hurt her and to control her was taking Anthony, and he succeeded. When Anthony's mom, when he went to visit her, and she said, not to Anthony, I want to say she said it in the interview for the documentary, that they will never have a mother-son relationship. She just wants to be his friend. Burke won. The abuser won. He was able to successfully steal Anthony's relationship with his mother and steal the mother's relationship with Anthony. He won. And that's what pisses me off so much in these situations. Anthony may have killed his dad, but the abuser won. He won. He stole Anthony's childhood. It doesn't mean he has to win everything. He doesn't have to win the rest of Anthony's life. But he succeeded in destroying a lot of years for a lot of people. That grandma is destroyed. The mom is destroyed. Anthony is destroyed. Peyton, also a victim of Bert. Susan, also a victim of Bert. Like, it's so sad to me. It's so sad. Now, I don't like how the documentary ends. Like I said, I was so invested in Anthony and in this story. And I would like to know, did he ever go back to see his family? Is he building a relationship with his mom and his grandma? Is he getting any type of counseling or help? Is he getting any type of education? What does Anthony's life look like? They asked him about living a normal life and what does that look like? Is he doing that? Does he have friends, a girlfriend? Is he going to the movie? You know, like, I just would like to know what is happening now. Does he still have a relationship with his stepbrother? Does he still have a relationship with his stepmom? I really hate that the documentary just kind of ends and we don't really get closure or answers. Now, I'm not, but I just feel like the lady who works with domestic violence, it was sad when she said she's been doing this for 20 years and really hasn't seen anything change. And how people say, why don't you leave, instead of saying to the abuser, why would you hurt someone you love? It's sad to me that she said she's been doing it for 20 years and baby, ain't nothing changed. Folk literally can't get help, like real help. And then when they take matters into their own hands, which I'm not saying I advocate or I think it's okay, but I get that they feel trapped. They don't see no way out. If Anthony would have told the cops that the dad was abusing him, I feel like it would have went down badly. Because guess what? It would have been the same instance that they said when he got arrested. It's not documented. Like, how would they have proved that he was being abused? He probably would have been shuffled right back to the house. Because it happens in real life. When kids say something happening at home, then they come look at the house and then just check everything all right. And then the child right back in the house. I just feel like before you can judge and critique the victims, Susan and her actions, Anthony and his actions, Anthony's mom and her actions, or they left the child, or they didn't do this, you got to critique the system that put them in this situation where, baby, what's the option? Because technically, Anthony's mom did things the quote-unquote right way. She went to the system. And the system helped Bert. And is that going to change? Are states going to start having a database or communicating anything along those lines? it's just, it's this situation, even though Anthony didn't go to prison, it's still not a happy ending. And I would hope that Anthony can move on, Susan can move on, Peyton can move on, Anthony's mom, grandma, them can move on, and everyone can thrive. But how realistic is that? What resources do they have at hand to help the mental toll this has taken on all of them? Because was it Anthony? Somebody in there said how Anthony's mom and Anthony has like PTSD from being victims. Like, are they getting any help for that? And what does that cause you to do, and how does that cause you to act? But then people judge that the kid is emotionless? I don't get it. This documentary was sad, child. This was sad. This was sad. I feel like it was a well put together documentary. It missed the mark in some areas, but overall, I'm glad that I know this story, and I wish I knew how things were going for everyone. Child, like my aunt always says, some folks have kids and some folks are parents. Burke had a child. He wasn't a parent. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for supporting the channel, guys. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments. Did you agree with my take? Did you disagree? I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.